welcome. You are listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. Hey, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there and all those great men who took on the role of being a father. So just want to appreciate you, show you a little bit of love. Now, I'm Spitface. Please welcome our host, the First Lady of Sports Talk in all her magnificence, Cheryl Smith.
Hey, good morning. Yes, happy Father's Day to all the men out there who are real fathers. And also, happy Father's Day to all the single mothers, too. you know we share Mother's Day and Father's Day, Spitface. I hate to say that, but we do.
yeah. Y'all think I'm crazy enough to argue with her? No. This week on Shout Out, we have music from Martin's Love. Will he find his shining star? Get the cold feel of the mute button. First Lady, what you say?
Each week we try to figure out what is going on in the sports world. Not the plays of the week, more like the players of the week. Are they trying to tell us something? So we ask, what you saying? Fly, little birdie, fly. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future. So I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let the Spirit carry me. I want to fly right into the future. The little birdies known as the Denver Nuggets flew far, far away from the pack to win their first NBA championship. The Nuggets beat the Heat 5-1 in a tough series, which they pretty much dominated. Did this series live up to expectations? Would the Celtics have been a better matchup? If you were building a team, who would you want? Young Shaq or the Joker? Does this series prove that Jimmy Butler is Scottie Pippen without Michael Jordan? Marvelous Marvin Hagler, rest in peace. Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones Jr., and the Steve Miller Band are asking, what you saying? I mean, as far as, this series, did the series live up to expectations? I mean, it depends to me because it lived up to my expectations because I expected the Nuggets to beat the Heat with ease, to be honest with you. Actually, I thought the Nuggets could have swept the Heat, but they had a couple of mental lapses with their defense in Game 2 to allow the Heat to make a comeback. So I just never thought the Heat matched up well against the Nuggets because the Nuggets were longer, more athletic than the Heat. And, pundits probably didn't think the series lived up to expectations because Jimmy Butler wasn't playoff Jimmy Butler. However, he hasn't been playoff Jimmy Butler in the Celtics series also. Teams learn to not to go for Jimmy's fake. If you don't, that fake is something that Jimmy, he's a completely different player when he has that fake going, that pump fake, and when people don't go for it, he doesn't get to the free throw line, and he scores a lot of points from the free throw line, so that's what makes him play off Jimmy. Now, the Celtics and Nuggets were able to stay down on that pump fake, so that's why, you didn't have playoff Jimmy. I've always thought the Celtics were a better matchup because the Celtics had the length and the athleticism to stay with the Nuggets, even though I thought the Nuggets probably would have won the series. They were the best team in the West, and they had the best player all year round. The one thing, though, Spitface, this year's playoff showed that you really don't need to have a big three to win. You just need to have two great players that are in sync with each other. And that's what they proved as far as the Denver Nuggets proved. They had the Joker and they had Jamal Murray, and they were able to fill people around them that also fit into, their style of play, and they were in sync with each other. So I just think you just need two great players. Gone are the big three. That big three now to me is put to rest in the NBA. Now, if I'm building a team in today's NBA, and I have to preface it by saying today's NBA, I would definitely want the Joker because he can do it all. He can shoot, rebound, pass, and post up. Joker is not that not a physically dominating player like Shaq. But in today's NBA, the center is not it's not prominent like it was in the 90s. Now, if the NBA returns to that 90-ish style of play, no doubt I would want a young Shaq. But I don't see them going back to that type of style again. I really don't, with Steph Curry and these young players in AAU, all they do is shoot 3 points shots. So the game definitely has been watered down. It's not as a physically dominating game. So, and don't get me wrong, the Joker can be dominating inside, especially the way the Heat was playing, because every time you look at, you had Kyle Lowry and Max Strus all on the Joker. They was completely, Gabe Vincent. They was completely, overmatched by the Joker. So, but he's still a stretched 5 type of player, and that's what the NBA is about, So I don't know if it will ever come back to the fact that they be down, they'll have a dominating center again. I mean, we'll see with Victor Wembanyama, but he's almost like a young Jokic too. So he can do everything. He can pass, dribble, score, post up, hit the long three. So, that's where the NBA is going, and that's where it's probably going to stay for many, many years. Now, there has been a lot of discussion, whether Jimmy Butler is a superstar or just a star. I consider Jimmy to be a tier below a true superstar like the Joker, LeBron, KD, Steph Curry. These are players that can lead a team offensively and really lead a team. They're the number one. Now Butler is definitely a number one on the Heat, but he's more of a facilitator. And like I said, playoff Jimmy can take over a game, but playoff Jimmy is not around during the regular season. And that's, to me, the difference between a superstar and a star. A superstar is around all year round, regular season and playoff season. So, to me, Jimmy is Pippen without Jordan, because if you remember, Pippen could never get the Bulls to a final without MJ. Now, Jimmy has taken the Heat to 2 finals. However, I'm going to be messy, Spitface. I think both situations were rather lucky. They beat the Bucks both times. If you remember, they beat the Bucks in the bubble, and this past postseason, as you remember, Giannis was hurt in both series. The series when the Heat beat the Bucks in the bubble, Giannis was hurt. When they beat them this year, Giannis was also injured. And if you remember the year that Giannis won that championship, the Bucks swept the same Heat team. So, that's what I'm saying to you. You have to have a lot of luck on your side, and the Heat had a lot of luck on their side to get where they are. They beat the Celtics in Game 7, and remember, Tatum injured his ankle on the first possession of the game. So who knows how that game would have been differently if Tatum had not injured his ankle. And then, unfortunately, injuries are part of the sports. But, again, are you going to tell me if there's a healthy Giannis and the Bucks that Jimmy Butler can lead the Heat to a championship? No, I don't think so. So I still think, the teams are at their best when you have a superstar, and I just don't think Jimmy Butler is a superstar. He's a star. He's the next tier under the superstars, and that's where I'm going to place him, Spitface. All right. That's where I got Jimmy. That's where I got playoff Jimmy. So, anyway, Spitface, where do you have him?
When I look at, as you said, Scottie Pippen was never able to get the Bulls or any other team to a finals, and Scottie Pippen. I really look at Jimmy Butler as, he's more like Scottie Pippen. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a Michael Jordan. So part of what, and I have a sense that Jimmy Butler wouldn't mind being the Scottie Pippen to a Michael Jordan. Like, look, he wants to win championships. You know, that you could tell. Jimmy want to win champion. If winning championship mean that let me play against the center, you know, I'll do it, man. I just want to win a championship. So, you know, I think the brother has that. You know, he has that hunger and desire, and he's not a Kobe Bryant. You know, he just ain't. As you said, he's not on that tier. He just ain't up there. Now, to me, that would be like Chris Paul. You know, a legitimate star, but really superstar? I don't know. But, so, Pat Riley, the godfather of the NBA, you got to make a move. You got to make a move. You got to make, you know. Now, you could only make a move if there's somewhere where a move is to be made. But either that or they need a break in the draft, and it's hard to see that happening when you're a playoff team. Now, I think that the series, look, I love it when a series goes 7. I love it. To me, then it's like, all right, hey, you know, the odds may be to the home court, but still, you know, it's like let it go down to the last minute of the last game. I love that. So I tend to have that expectation that it's always going to be a 6 or 7 game series. It did not live up to my expectations. So, and the Nuggets really did pretty much dominate the Heat. You know, I like rooting for an underdog, and the Heat were a good underdog, but they you know, the Nuggets pretty much just dominated them, and I'm not sure that the Celtics would have been a better matchup because you know. Athletically, it would seem so, but the Celtics got some issues, and you know, I think the Nuggets would have been like, I don't know what's up with y'all, but we get ready to just beat y'all, and they would have got. I think they would have got swept. Now, I think the Heat they got a break, whatever. You know, sometimes you know you plan a certain way, and the breaks will fall your way. But they got that one. I don't think the Celtics would have got one. I think they would have just got beat. I think that they would have been confused and bamboozled. And they would have just been trying to do so much with the Joker that they would have just got ate up. So, there's something up with the Celtics. And, so they got some issues. But when I look at it, Jimmy Butler, being a Scottie Pippen ain't bad if you got a Michael Jordan. Because it don't mean a thing unless you got that ring. That's what I'm saying, First Lady.
Yeah. If you don't mean a thing if you got that ring, and, you know, Jimmy Butler still needs to have, like you said, an upgrade on the team. You know, they keep saying it. You know, the Heat survive with a lot of undrafted players, and unfortunately, against the Denver Nuggets, they look like undrafted players. They didn't look against with the Knicks nor the Celtics, but against the Denver Nuggets, they looked every bit that they were undrafted. So anyway, all right, Spitface, over to you.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, rocking my peers and putting suckers in fear, making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom. Explosion, overpowering. Over the competition, I'm towering. Wrecking shop when I drop these lyrics that'll make you call the cops. Don't you dare stare, you better move. Don't ever compare me to the rest that all get sliced and diced. Competition paying the price. I'm gonna knock you out, huh? Mama said knock you out, huh? We are talking about the potential knockout punch at the beginning of the season for Jay Morant. after being slapped by the NBA with a 25-game suspension. They got tapes. Jay would see those video flashing guns after he promised he would stay away from stupid behavior regarding guns. Calling Michael Vick. Michael, is there anyone that can talk to this young man and wake him up to what he can lose? Does he have homeboy-itis? Now, for those who don't understand, homeboy-itis is a condition that requires you to have bullshit MFs around that happen to be your, quote, posse, who keep you in trouble instead of out of trouble. Homeboy-itis. Is the NBA just picking on Jay because he's young, dumb, and full of himself? Is he just simply a reflection of America's gun culture? Second Amendment. Leroy Satchel Page, Walter Buck Leonard, and James Cool Papa Bear are asking what you saying, and should Memphis trade Mr. Morant, perhaps to the Heat? First Lady, I do not know, and I cannot explain how I'm being paid millions of dollars. Y'all ask me to stop doing something, and I'm looking at those millions of dollars y'all paying me, and I don't go, what do you mean stop? It's done. All behavior that impact my money, I can do that later. I can sit there right now. How much you paying me? Millions? And you say, spit face. When you, doing your thing, no guns. Man, I done already ordered every weapon. We don't even allow water pistols in my house. Like I'm clearing the deck right now. Because you say that's about to impact my money. And I think it is a reflection of America's gun culture. Oh, yeah. We have to remember that Texas has no license, no permits. You can just, you can conceal your weapon. How many of you police officers want to go up to anybody knowing that they can conceal any weapon? So the fact that a young, not too bright NBA star is caught up in a culture that's being promoted and we need to be in fear. You can't knock on a neighbor's door and say, hey, look, I'm just trying to get directions to so-and-so without fear of being shot. Come on, pulling up to the wrong driveway. So, with all of that, no, the NBA is not picking on him. And, yes, get the, whatever treatment, whatever is needed, come on, wake up, get rid of them hanger-ons. Because, again, if they really your boys, they try to keep you out of trouble instead of helping you get in trouble. They the ones who sitting up there go, nah, man, you know how things go with them guns. Leave that alone, bro. If they ain't talking to you like that, you don't need them around. And why are they filming? Somebody got to have done film, video, whatever. So, Now, Memphis may need to see if they can work a deal and do some trading, because I think the environment is not conducive to young Morant. He needs to be, well, I won't say what he needs, but I could see him being in a organization that has more structure and leadership for him to mature. So, yeah, trade him to the probably get a better deal. But the brother needs to be up off of Memphis. First Lady, what you say?
You say
homeboyitis.
He needs to be off of Memphis. Oh wow. Yeah, Memphis is also you have to blame a little bit on this situation on Memphis because some of the stuff that was coming out, they knew what was going on and they did not handle this correctly internally before it had gotten out to everybody and before the NBA had to step in. And that's one reason why the NBA had to step in, because Memphis didn't do their job. Their general manager and everybody didn't do what they were supposed to do when it comes to when you have a player that's acting like this. And, a lot of times this stuff happens and we don't hear about it because, again, teams know how to take care of it. But, I still think Ja Morant got off lightly. But the situation is the NBA had a problem. They couldn't make Ja's punishment more than the Hornets, Miles Bridges, who received 30 games for a domestic violence incident. If he received more games, that would kind of devalue that domestic violence issue, and the NBA would even have a bigger issue. And remember, Morant didn't break any laws because, Memphis is a open carry state. But that doesn't mean anything. It's all about the NBA brand. But he had to get under 30 games because of that domestic violence incident that Miles Bridges had with the Hornets. Now, the question is, does Ja Morant have some unresolved issue that he needs to take care of? Now I'm not sure if there's a mental issue there, or as Stephen A. Smith likes to say, he can't stay off the weed. Now, I don't know if he smokes weed, but you remember the NBA doesn't test for marijuana use. But there's something going on with Ja Morant, because you just don't continue to do these dumb stuff that he's been doing. And it wasn't just the flashing of the gun. You remember he was at the strip club with all them naked women and the money just thrown all out. All around that particular scene that was on, it was on the internet. He looked like somebody unhinged, to be honest with you. So we don't know if it's something mentally or there's something else. I'm not going to say he's using drugs, heavier drugs, but again, it could be a marijuana thing. Not everybody can smoke marijuana and act normal. So, and the NBA doesn't test for marijuana anymore either. So, and of course, Ja needs to reevaluate the company he keeps. As Charles Barkley always stated, you got to let your homeboys go. And Ja needs better advice. And usually when you get the good advice, it comes from your parents. However, Ja Morant's father is walking around thinking he's an Usher lookalike. So his father was the one. His father was the one that trained him to be the player he is, but he needs to start acting like his father and not like one of his homeboys. Now, I'm not sure about his mother. I haven't really heard anything from her regarding the situation. She's been awfully quiet, which is kind of unusual because a lot of the NBA players, their mothers are very outspoken, but, that's cases where you had single mothers. Now, he was raised in a two-family, both his parents were raising him. But I really haven't heard anything from the mother, and I would really love to know where the mother is regarding this situation. Now, money changes people.
I want to beat your ass.
That's where she at.
That's where she at.
Yeah, well, he's a little bit too old to be beaten up, but he needs something. But as I would say, money changes people, and I'm going to say it's not going to change me. But when you obtain generational wealth, you need to know how to act because everyone will be gunning for you. Now, hopefully, Ja can get more people around him to help him through this situation. But again, I'm going to preface it starts with his parents. His parents are usually your guiding force, your people of reason, and you got to rely on your parents, and his parents got to act like that's their child, and they are trying to teach him what he needs to do. Now, there was a story, I'm not sure it was, I thought it was Magic Johnson was trying to hook connect John Morant with Allen Iverson for someone to speak to because, you know, AI went through a lot during his playing career that kind of, to me, you know, he could give some advice to Ja, but from my understanding, it wasn't received well. And I'm not saying Ja is a reflection of the Americans' gun culture. I really think he's a reflection of the hip-hop culture. Ja has this rapper's thug mentality that he thinks is cool. As real-life thugs like to say, you don't want to be that life if you are not really in that life. You feel me? Nobody likes fake wannabes. And I think that's what Ja is trying to be, a fake wannabe thug life type of thing. And no, the NBA is not picking on Ja. They have a brand to protect that is followed by millions of young people all over the world. They want their players and the brand to represent the best of the NBA, not Tupac's thug life. That's all I'm saying. And no, the Heat don't need to get Ja Morant. They don't have enough to get Ja Morant, to be honest with you. I don't know if you saw. I don't know. I heard recently what they've been offering for Bradley Beal. I almost fell off my floor when I heard what my mouth dropped to the ground. I said, my gosh, the Knicks need to get into this conversation, get Bradley Beal. The Heat, from my understanding, are offering Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, and a draft pick for Bradley Beal. Washington Wizard, you would be a damn fool if you take that just to get rid of Bradley Beal. I mean, that's crazy. That is not enough for Bradley Beal. But anyway, I digress. We're talking about Ja Morant. But anyway, that's all I got to say. The NBA, they don't need that thug life personality. They need somebody who's going to represent the best for them. They already been through that thug life situation under David Stern.
They went through that era. And players realize it's all about the cash. And it is, I'll just say that sometimes you have to learn the hard way that people you grew up with and knew, and even you people you meet, may only be temporary. Like that, like in that moment, fine. But they're not the ones for you to, fully be able to develop, or reach your highest potential, not just in your profession, but what you want to be and have in life. Okay? Because sometimes people, they, quote, achieve their dream, and then that's it. My dream was to be a professional NBA player making lots of money. Well, that happened. Now what? That doesn't mean that you got to start being Mother Teresa, but you have to look at, what is there in life? Maybe that's a good enough question in itself. I got the money. I could do this, that, whatever, but what the hell do I really want to do now? Maybe all I want to do is just be the best player I can be and then figure it out. That's actually okay. First Lady, please take us to break.
Stay tuned. Coming up next, we have a performance from Martin's Love on Shout Out Part 1.
Welcome back. The music flows in from around the globe to get a shout out from the panel. First Lady, I can't wait to hear the music from Martin's Love.
On Shout Out, we feature new independent artists who are looking to find their shining star. If we like what we hear, we'll give the track a shout out. If we don't like it, we hit the mute. Today we are featuring Martin Love from Lagos, Nigeria. They say, quote, what makes me different from other artists is that I'm very loyal and humble to my fans and to all my supporters, end quote. All right, DJ, let's hear Fear Nobody.
Genesis did it.
Martin's love, baby. I'm living my life, I fear nobody. I'm doing my things, I see nobody. But waiting I do, people talk about me. But waiting you gain if you criticize me. I fear nobody. I see nobody. I fear nobody. I see nobody. Everybody wanna know how I boss Sheila. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I'm a champion. Sure you wanna know how I do it, how I boss it. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I'm a champion. For this life we would show. Living good, now my name so down. I'm drawing crowd, I'm a champion. Everybody want to bring me down. I fear nobody. I see nobody. I fear nobody. I see nobody. Everybody wanna know how I boss Sheila. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I'm a champion. Sure you wanna know how I do it, how I boss it. I'm a boss, I'm a king, I'm a champion. I'm living my life, I fear nobody. I'm doing my things, I see nobody. But waiting I do, people talk about me. But waiting you gain if you criticize me. I fear nobody. I see nobody.
Okay, that's the song. All right. Wow. I was really into the song, but it ended kind of short and briefly.
You say you was really into this song.
It was over with before it was already gone. But anyway, I'm definitely going to shout it out. You know, African music has become so popular in the United States that I just heard recently that the Grammys have added a category for African music. Yeah, they added its own separate category, which is really great when you think about it. And there's a lot of Burna Boy. I think it's Burna Boy, Thames. There's a lot of up and coming African singers that are really doing well in America and the music. And I love African music, so I'm definitely going to shout it out. You shouting out Spitface, or you're hitting the mute button?
My brother from Lagos, much love to you. And to all the Nollywood movie fans here in the U.S., I hope y'all enjoy. First Lady, I'm shouting it out. And sometimes, we're so used to our music, let's say, dominating the world. And when I mean our music, us folks that live in the USA. Mm-hmm. And a good example, jazz. We originate jazz, it take over the world. We originate hip-hop, it takes over the world. So there's like evidence, to that point. So when music, I'd say, from the continent or not from USA, starts building a quote American audience, that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because then we're allowing ourselves to be impacted by a different culture. And as they say, if you can't travel, because travel's the best way, I always say, if you really want to learn about the world and people, travel. If you can't do that, music can fill that spot in. That's all I'm saying, personally, but I'm shouting it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Afro beats are definitely around to stay. All right, on part 2 of Shout Out, we'll have feature another track by Martin's Love. But now, is that the sound of our favorite underwater friend? Is it time for Flip It?
They call him Flipper, faster than lightning. No one you see is smarter than he. And we know Flipper lives in a world full of wonder, lying there under the sea.
All right, it's time for Flip It, where our hosts defend the view and then flip the script and defend the opposing view. Jimmy G is the Raiders' starting QB, and Tom Brady is now part of Raider Nation. Jimmy was supposed to be Tom Brady's replacement. Now he works for TB. Will Jimmy G lead the Raiders deep into the playoffs? Defend. If Jimmy G is healthy, it's certainly possible. First Lady, Jimmy G, whether it's stumbling, bumbling, fumbling, or making a good pass, has a very good running record. And whether that was with the Patriots in a fill-in role or with his last team, the 49ers, the man has a good record behind him. But that health is, will he be healthy? And until you win the big one, can you win the big one? Now, Peyton Manning was the, quote, best regular season quarterback in the history of the game, many would say. But when it came to the playoffs and Super Bowls, Tom Brady. So Jimmy G, until he wins that big game, that question mark will be there. But can he get the Raiders where they're at least in the playoffs? Oh, yeah. As long as he's healthy, they're in the playoffs. First Lady, please defend.
Anything is possible for Jimmy G if he's healthy. Now, that's the question, if he's healthy. Now, even before he was signed by the Raiders, he failed his physical. He had to wait a couple of days, but he finally passed the physical, and that's when they gave him that contract. Now, he's like you said, he's been to a Super Bowl already with the 49ers, so he can do it again. Now, if the Raiders' defense is much better than last year, there's a possibility, yes, Jimmy G can get them to the playoffs, because keep in mind, Jimmy G, to me, is going to be an upgrade over Derek Carr because of Jimmy G's familiarity with Josh McDaniels. Remember, they used to work together on the Patriots. And I truly believe it was McDaniels that wanted Jimmy G to take over for Brady, and Belichick was just acquiescing to Josh's recommendations. Now, that's just my opinion about things. I don't know the truth about it, but, Brady said he ain't having that, and that's when he went to the top to say get rid of Jimmy G, and Bill Belichick had to get rid of Jimmy G. And it's ironic that now Brady is over Jimmy G. It really shows you how karma returns, and you just never know. It's quite interesting. But the offense definitely should be better with Jimmy G than Derek Carr. And they still have Devontae Adams as the number one wide receiver. And it's possibility. There's always possibility. And like I said, I brought up the GOAT for a reason, because when you got him on your team, there's always possibilities that you could make the playoffs, because, you know, the GOAT could be there and he could add some help to the Raiders and their offense. And it's just, I mean, I don't think he's going to be that much involved, but you never know. You really, really never know. So I just think it's going to be a good thing. And, yeah, there's always a possibility that Jimmy G can lead the Raiders to a playoff.
All right, First Lady. We hear it's possible when the head man. Oh, by the way, he Josh McDaniels' boss too, ain't he? Okay. Hey, let's flip it. We're gonna defend. The Raiders will be a better team. They will not make the playoffs given the crowded AFC West. Yes, Jimmy G is an upgrade at quarterback. Yes, if he stays healthy, they have the possibility of making the playoffs. The problem is that Jimmy G will be an upgrade. They will be competitive, and they won't be competitive enough. Not with the Chiefs, the Chargers, and we know that Mr. Wilson is not going to have a repeat of that disastrous first season. Ain't happening. So they would be in a dogfight. Wait just a minute. We were just talking about Michael Vick. Let me take that back. Okay. They're gonna be in a man fight. With the Broncos to possibly get a wild card spot. Because right now, the Chiefs, the Chargers, I won't say they are a lock, but I'd put my dollar bill down on both of them. So, and then the chances that there's going to be a third team out of the AFC West, and it will be between the Broncos and the Raiders, I'd still put that dollar on the Broncos and Mr. Wilson's neighborhood. So the Raider Nation, y'all will have a better team, but not this year. Not this year. Not the first year of them getting together. They're going to show some light. They're going to give y'all some expectations. But that's it. First Lady, please defend.
Well, the AFC West, like you said, it's just too crowded for the Raiders to win the division. They're not beating the Chiefs, who you can write it in. They are going to be the division leaders. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The Chiefs are going to win that division. Now, like you said, Spitface, the Chargers and the Broncos will definitely be better, because you can't imagine Russell Wilson having another bad year. Because if he has another bad year, he will be gone. And they got Sean Payton there running the show now. So you must expect that offense is going to be better than what it showed before. And to be honest with you, in general, the AFC conference is just too tough to win, period. You know, we've talked about this on previous shows, and I have said before that teams are going to have winning records, very good winning records, but they will not make the playoffs because it is just too many great teams in the AFC, period. I mean, there's only 3 wild card slots. So if you're a Raiders fan, you know you're not going to be you're not going to win the division. So can you get one of those wild card slots? I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think so, because you have the Dolphins, you have okay, let's look at it. You got the Chiefs winning the AFC, the West. You have the East. The East is up in the air. We don't know what the East is going to be, but we know the South. I mean, who's going to win the South? I mean, I don't think the Titans I think the Jaguars are probably going to win the South. Then you got the North. The Bengals are going to win. And the East, let's say the Bills are going to win. But then you got the Dolphins, you got the Jets, you got the Ravens, you got the Browns. I mean, there's just too many good teams out there for 3 slots to be able to get one of those slots if you are the Raiders. So, I mean, the Raiders are going to have a turnaround season, but it's just not going to be good enough. Unfortunately, they'll have a winning record, but they will not make one of those wild card slots. That's all I'm saying, Spitface.
That's all you say. It's just crowded out west. That's why them folks moving up out of California. It's too crowded. First Lady, please take us to break.
Stay tuned. Up next, our favorite underwater friend on Flip It Part 2. That's it. Welcome back. You are still listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. It's time for Butt Kicking is back, and we are wondering about Conor McGregor, who has been accused of escorting a lady to a restroom and violently sexually assaulting her. Oh, my. All of this happened during Game 4 of the NBA Finals, and that happened to be in Miami. In one video, Conor is seen flexing with the accuser as music blared. In another, the 34-year-old star is seen allegedly grabbing the woman by her hand and leading her into a bathroom. According to demand letters from Mitchell obtained by the Post, the alleged victim was separated from her friend by Heat and NBA security, then forced into the bathroom inside the arena. McGregor then emerged from a stall and forcibly kissed a woman who was kept inside the bathroom by security guards that also wouldn't allow anyone else inside. McGregor has been adamant that the woman's claims are, quote, no more than a shakedown, unquote, end quote. The Miami Police Department is investigating the incident. The woman is seeking settlements with the NBA, the Heat, and McGregor in lieu of the litigation, according to the letters. It's all right. All right. Spitface, what do you got to say about this situation?
It's messed up. Now, it is genuinely messed up. Conor McGregor, one, you at an NBA final, cameras are everywhere. Why on earth are you going into a bathroom with a woman? Why? Why can y'all? I'm sure you had limousine service, and if quote she was willing to do all of that, she would have been willing to do all of that after the game was over, in a private situation. But your dumb ass go act like cameras ain't everywhere and take this woman into the washroom, into the men's room. Didn't something about that kind of like warning bells, like, this ain't a good thing. This ain't a good thing for my image. This ain't get it, or even, well, why does this woman want to go, why is she so ready to do this? Why? They say, don't let the little head tell the big head what to do. I have heard that in my years, and it's so true. Look, like I said, if y'all was feeling the vibe that good, dude, it's like you a $2 hoe. Like that. Like that's how you go. You Conor McGregor. You got millions of dollars, fans, all of that stuff, and you gonna do something that's low and ignorant. Now, I don't know if you assaulted the woman or not, but why? Why even be in that situation? First Lady, do they be taking stupid sauce? Tell me something.
First of all, I mean, I didn't realize was the heat security guards the one that forced. I'm confused about that. I got to read more about that because she is suing the Heat, and it states that the Heat that she was separated from her friends by security. Now, I thought it was more of McGregor's security more so than the Heat security. I don't know, but like you said, cameras are everywhere, and you could always depend on TMZ to get those cameras. And yes, they got some cameras. And they got pictures and just clearly show that the woman went into the bathroom and where he grabbed her hand. Now, the thing is, she had planned to go with him to a hotel. She literally stated that in the letter. That's what she was expecting, to go. Not that she was going to do anything with him in the hotel, but that, that they was going to continue their evening going to another hotel, maybe the party or whatever. And I guess things switched, and Conor McGregor felt that he needed to go into the bathroom. I mean, I don't know, but it's really sad. And, and you forgot there was other controversy. See, we thought the biggest controversy that day was about with Bernie, because he punched Bernie, which was part of the skit, and the guy who played Bernie ended up in the hospital. Honey, that was the least of Conor McGregor's problem. I mean, it was the least of his problem. It was that, they talked about that for a whole week. And now this whole situation came out about this woman being violently raped. My goodness. All I can say is we'll see. I mean, and she did go to the police the next day. So there was definitely, this was not like some women, unfortunately, that they don't report this. She reported it the next day. So there's got to be some truth to this situation. So it really doesn't bode well for Conor McGregor. But I don't know. These men, they just got to learn to do better. When, you just can't violate women. Just can't do that. What can I say? Just can't do it, spit face. You really can't do it anymore. I mean, I don't know what is, like you said, would make some sense out of this. What are these women going to learn? I don't know. But anyway, it's time for our favorite underwater friend. It's time for Flip It Part 2. In every NFL season, there is a team that goes from the worst to the first in their division. This year, will that worst to the first be the Houston Texans or Chicago Bears? Panel defend. The Texans have a new everything, while the Bears have a young, seasoned quarterback and added depth to their team. The Bears go from worst to first. Spitface defend.
I'm looking at the situation with the Bears, and this is it. This is the year that your quarterback either makes it or breaks it. And my man's feet have done well for him. And I expect a passing attack that's going to greatly improve. But the Bears may end up with a three-headed monster at running back. Now, Bear fans all over the world, we know that all those fancy passing yardage and all that stuff, that what we love is defense and a running game. But we're going to get treated in this season. We are going to see the Bears with a passing game and a three-headed monster at running back. So buckle up, Bucks. And we ain't got no more of that bad man to mess around with. Green Bay, they got a new guy at quarterback, but he new. So he gonna get shook up by that bad defense. And do you really think the Purple People Eaters are going to be that good? The Purple People Eaters are going to get to a certain point, and then it's going to be Captain Kirk to Scotty, beam me up. But I am a little worried about them Detroit Lions. They got something going on in Detroit. But the Bears will go from worst to first because the Texans has got too much to deal with. Too much. They got a new quarterback. They got a new coach. They got a new system. They got new. Now, and they in a division that's always a mystery, the AFC South. And right now, I think the team to beat in that division is an upcoming Jaguar team. So the Bears will go from worst to first. That's all I'm saying, First Lady.
All right, the Bears will go from worst to first. Yeah. I think that, it's interesting that everyone, a lot of the pundits are expecting a major turnaround for the Bears. Now, I'm not saying many of them were predicting the Bears to win their division. They are predicting at least to double their wins. But, like you said, Spitface, the NFC North is very questionable this year because we already know the Packers are not going to be good. The Packers are not going to be good. They've basically decided they're going to go with their new quarterback, the one that they traded for, that Rodgers was up in the arms about. The Vikings, who knows what the Vikings are going to do. Sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad. They're good sometimes weak and sometimes they're bad. That's how they've been. They're an up and down team. And so who knows about the Vikings? And like you said, Detroit definitely is a team on the upswing. They're a team that finished very well last season. They knock somebody out? I think they knocked the Packers out of the playoffs last season. And so to me, it is going to be between Detroit and the Chicago Bears. As you say, Texans. They're in the AFC South. But everything is just new for them. Like you said, they're going to have to go through some growing pains of having a new coach, a new everything, and a new quarterback, a very young quarterback, and C.J. Stroud. And so it's going to be a while. I give them till next season to be on the up. The Texans are the Chicago Bears the previous season. So Texas will definitely have a major turnaround, not this season, but next season. But it's time for the Bears to have that turnaround. It's time for Justin Fields to prove that he is a top 10 quarterback in this league. And, he was slated to go up in the draft early, but he didn't. Well, we already know what happened with that draft because the Jets took Wilson, and we know how he's been a flop. So they may have done better if they had taken Justin Fields. But anyway, so we'll see how Fields will do. And I just think Fields is going to have a major, significant turnaround for the Chicago Bears, and it's a possibility. The Bears can go from worst to first. All right, we're going to flip it. Every team in the AFC South has issues. The Texans have a new quarterback and head coach who are about to throw a wrinkle in the crinkle. They have a better shot in an unpredictable AFC South. Spitface defend.
Looking at the AFC South, the AFC South is the mystery division. They're the division that you make Sherlock Holmes and Alfred Hitchcock movies out of. They're the whodunit division. Who done it? Who would have thumped the Jaguars last season? Who would have, who would have thumped the things that happened in the AFC South? But when I look at the AFC South, the Texans, by them having a new quarterback, CJ, and having a new coach, DeMeco Ryans, they can throw a little wrinkle in the crinkle of the AFC South and make some serious noise. There is no truly dominant team in the AFC South. There really is not. The Titans for a little bit, the Colts, but they're the Colts. And then there was the Jaguars and the Texans. So who would bubble on up to the top is any man's guess. The Titans, this is a year where they got to look at, are we going to be the same team? A lot of things are coming up for them. They got some issues. The Colts, how many quarterbacks they went through? How many? The Colts definitely got some issues. Now the Jaguars, hey, their trend line is heading up, but they haven't solidified nothing. That they have not solidified anything. So that division is wide open. And if DeMeco can get in there, get that defense together, and from everything from the outside, looks like the Texans as an organization are doing the work to move their team in the right direction. They could be another one of them teams that, hey, look, boom, end up being at the top, given the AFC mystery division. That's all I'm saying, First Lady.
You don't need to say much because you're right. It is a very, very unpredictable division. Yes, the Titans were great at one point. You had the great running back, and the quarterback was a little bit, he was above average at one point, but now they're questioning whether or not they need a new quarterback, The Colts, like you said, they've gone through so many quarterbacks, like a man changes underwear. There's been so many quarterbacks. Who is their quarterback this year? I couldn't even figure out who their quarterback is this year. Did they draft, who's their quarterback? Is it, I don't even know who their quarterback is.
My man from Miami.
I know who you're talking about. What's his name? Anyway, I know who you. Yeah, he's a backup quarterback, right? He's not even. He was the Dolphins' backup quarterback.
Oh wait, we talking about the. That's right. We talking about the Colts drafted Anthony Richardson.
Oh, that's right. They drafted Anthony Richardson. Okay, but
right.
Yeah, so we'll see if Anthony Richardson starts. I don't think he's going to be their starting quarterback.
He might as well. They got who did they get? Matty Ice from the Falcons.
No, actually, their quarterback. Let me tell you who is Sam Ehlinger. Oh
man, a great household name.
No, but
okay.
Anthony Richardson. Yeah, you're right. They did get Anthony Richardson. So I don't know. He should be their starting quarterback. The Dolphins quarterback went to the Washington team. Yeah,
right.
The Dolphins quarterback went to the Washington team. But
Tannehill went to the Titans.
Tannehill's always been on the Titans.
No, he started with.
No, he was with the Dolphins. Tannehill was
right.
with the Dolphins, but he's been with the Titans for the past 3-4 years
right.
now. So he's been with the Titans
I'm saying
for a long time.
Yeah, I'm just going their QB position.
Well, he's questionable too. That's what I say. The Titans should be the best team, but they've been having issues with Tannehill, and that's why the Dolphins got rid of Tannehill, because he may have one good year, then he drops the next year. So there's been issues with him. And like you said, the Colts, we don't know how they're going to do because they got a young quarterback. And the Jaguars, like you said, who says the Jaguars should be the cream of the top, because, we don't know. They've always been bad. I mean, they should be leading in the off season. They should be the favorite, but because of the fact that we just don't know about this division, I mean, it is a division that is truly up in the air that who can be the winner of this division. And normally, let's look at the normally a team like the Texans, they're not going to have a tough schedule because they finished almost second to last. So they should have an easier season as a record versus easier teams to play versus the Jaguars. The Jaguars going to have a tougher schedule. But anyway, it's really going to be up in the air, and I think the Texans, because of DeMeco Ryans, he seems to be a very good coach, and he can get that defense going. So if they can get the defense going, and we can see that C.J. Stroud is a darn good quarterback, he can definitely change things offensively for the Texans. So I mean, I think they just have a greater shot than anybody in the division, to be honest with you, Spitface. So I'm going to go with the Titans. They will go from worst to first. All right, Spitface, over to you.
So you're going to go with the Texans and say that they're going to go from worst to first. All right, First Lady, on the other side of the break, we have another performance from Martin's Love on Shout Out Part 2. Go Bears, go Texans.
Welcome back. The music flows from around the globe to get a shout-out from the crew. Spitface, over to you.
All right. We have another performance from Martin's Love, and that's L-U-V. DJ, let's hear the title song from his new album, Where to Find You. All right, Where to Find You. Where are you at, baby? Where can I find you? DJ, hit it.
Martin's Love, baby. See, pretty girl, me, I'm living my life. Every time we I come to vibe. Pretty you on how to love. Loving you, not the best I met. If your love is a crime, then I'm off to jail. All I want is a smile on your face. Baby, tell me how you want it. Anyhow, where you want, I be stand by. Would you rather anything I go buy? Girl, I want you. Tell me where to find you. Baby, tell me where to find you. Cause I need you. Tell me where to find you. Make you tell me where to find you. Girl, I want you. Tell me where to find you. Baby, tell me where to find you. I need your love. Baby, wake up, make me make up. If your love wanna juice, I go drink up. Share your love wanna boy, make her right up. It's my love when we talking, if you break up. I see your backside, you make me go side. Say my eyes don't red, you make me go hard. Say your booty bomb, make me one dance. Oh yeah, shake your body, girl, I know you one chance. Girl, I want you. Tell me where to find you. Baby, tell me where to find you. Cause I need you. Tell me where to find you. Make you tell me where to find you. Girl, I want you. Tell me where to find you. Baby, tell me where to find you. I need your love. I need your love.
Genesis did it.
All right, that was Where to Find You. And First Lady, my man got a good flow, but I have to ask, look, brother, are you sending in snippets or tracks?
Those are right definitely now, snippets.
Yeah, right now it's starting to seem like you sending us a couple of snippets, and I'm not gonna mute you this time. Because really the music is good. You have good music. But this snippet stuff, you're going to have to cut on out, or we may not be playing your tracks on Old Grumpy Radio Network. But I'm going to give you a shout-out. I like the music. I like the time. And you got good production. But man, I got to knock you down a peg for sending us some snippets.
That one was shorter than the last one. That's unbelievable. So yeah,
I had to listen. First, they say I might have to listen to them lyrics. Did he find her that fast?
All right. Well, I'm gonna, like you said, I'm gonna shout it out. But yes, that was definitely too short. Without a question, that was definitely too short. But anyway, I mean, it is what it is.
All right. Well, that is the end of shout out. If you like what you heard from Martin's Love, and that's LUV, check him out on the Old Grumpy Radio Network. If you would like to be heard or have any comments, please send your emails and tracks to talent@oldgrumpyradio.com. First Lady, over to you.
All right. It's time for Who Won the NBA Hardball Roundball Championship. Well, let's go over the results. The results are kind of interesting. It seems like Spitface and Dizzy Mac, they just really believed in the Miami Heat, where I didn't believe in the Miami Heat. So let's go to Game 4 results. I led with 16 million points. Both Dizzy Mac and Spitface had a minus 28 million points. Game 5, I led with 12 million points. Dizzy Mac had a minus 12 million. Spitface had minus 4 million. That was game 4. All right. No, I'm sorry. That was Game 5. Game 5 was I had 12 million points. Dizzy Mac minus 12 million points, and Spitface minus 4 million. So, I mean, it's obvious who won. I won. I had 40.45 million points, 40,450,000 points. Spitface, you came in second with a negative 38,850,000 points. Dizzy Mac came up in the rear with minus 57,500,000 points. You two just relied too much on the Miami Heat, too much for me. Every week it was the Heat. Y'all was depending on the Heat was going to win. They won one time, but they didn't win enough, and that was some of the problems for Dizzy Mac and Spitface. So there really was no contest with this one, because I always went with the Nuggets, and the winner of the games had the most points, and that's where they lost most of their points. So, yes, I am the hardwood pick crown. I am the winner. All right, so we're going to eventually get into the baseball season, correct? Hardball?
Hardball will be coming up.
All right, hardball will be coming up. And that's always interesting because, as you can see, we don't know a thing about hardball. Especially from last year, if I remember right. Last year, I think we all were in negatives, if I can remember. I think Dizzy Mac won the football season, but I can't remember the hardball. It wasn't that great, to be honest with you. All right, Spitface, what is your top story to watch this week?
My top story to watch is how much Michael Jordan gets paid for the Charlotte Hornets.
Oh, well, I think they're talking about $3 billion. That's what the team is assessed for. But you know what? Go ahead.
No, I said, hey, I want to see how much it go for.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, he's only given up. You know, initially I thought he was going to be out of the game, period. But he's only given up the majority stake, and he is going to take a minority stake. And from what I've been reading, he's still going to be in charge of the day-to-day operations. Yeah, that was quite interesting to me. That was very, very interesting. I have to double check that, but I don't know why the new owners want him to be part of the day-to-day operation, because I hate to say it, Charles Barkley was the one who said it, and he lost a friendship behind it. Michael Jordan was not a good owner, okay? He was horrible as an owner. But anyway, that's neither here or there. But anyway, congratulations to Michael Jordan, because you're right, Spitface. He is going to get paid. My top story this week is Thursday is the NBA draft. We all know who's going to be number one. That is, I mean, unlike any other year, with the exception of LeBron James' year, we all knew LeBron was going to be the number one pick. Well, we already know San Antonio Spurs are going to be taking Victor Wembanyama. That is a no-brainer. And I guess you could have said, too, when Zion came out, Zion was going to be the number one pick, but we already know what's going on with Zion Williams as the number one pick. That was, you know, it's not fit. Look, I said it before. Zion was the number one pick. Ja Morant is the number two pick, and the Knicks got J.R. Barrett. You know what? J.R. Barrett is looking pretty good right now with Ja and his problem, and Zion. And, Lord, you talk about problems. Zion and all these women who claim to have his baby. Shoot, no wonder why the man couldn't get healthy. All right. So anyway, it's going to be who's going to be picked number 2 and number 3. That's going to be the surprise. And from what they've been saying, there's going to be a lot of NBA trades. A lot of people, for some reason, they want to trade these picks and get some players. So it's going to be quite interesting. So that's my top story for this week. Join us as we honor our veteran women and veteran women with disabilities. To learn more, please visit honorourveteranwomen.com, honorourveteranwomen.com. Check out our current and previous episodes at Bras, Panties, and Sports.com and our Facebook page, BP and Sports. This is Cheryl Smith, the First Lady of Sports Talk, and Spitface. You have been listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. See you next week.